The courtroom was so quiet you could hear the ticking of the clock. Reporters held their breath, cameras aimed at a man in a $10,000 suit, his face pale and sweaty. Across the room stood someone no one expected, a man in a simple gray shirt, head held high, eyes steady. This wasn't just any case. This was about power, pride, and a truth so shocking that when it finally came out, the entire courtroom erupted. It all started 6 months ago, on a rainy Monday morning in New York City. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more true stories. Martin Graves was the kind of man who believed money could buy respect, loyalty, and silence. With a net worth north of $500 million, he ruled his real estate empire with an iron fist. Employees didn't just work for him, they feared him. That morning, Martin walked into his skyscraper headquarters with his usual swagger. Italian leather shoes tapped against marble floors, echoing through the grand lobby. Dozens of employees straightened up, ready to greet him with fake smiles. But one man didn't move. James Carter, a janitor who had worked there for 15 years, was on his knees cleaning a coffee spill. His hands were steady, his focus sharp, as if he didn't hear the powerful man entering. Martin stopped dead in his tracks. "Excuse me," he barked, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. "Do you even know who you're working for?" James looked up calmly. "Morning, Mr. Graves." "Morning?" Martin laughed coldly. "You're scrubbing floors like a rat, and you can't even show respect? Stand up when I walk in here. Better yet, maybe you don't belong here at all." Employees exchanged nervous glances. No one dared to speak. James stood slowly, towering over Martin by an inch, but his eyes were humble. "I didn't mean any disrespect, sir. Just doing my job." Martin smirked. "Your job? Let me tell you something. People like you will never be more than janitors. You hear me? Never." The words sliced through the silence. Some employees looked at the floor, others at James with pity. But James didn't flinch. He simply said, "Yes, sir," and returned to his work. Martin walked away, satisfied. But deep inside, something had been set in motion. Something he could never control. Later that day, Martin called James into his glass-walled office. The city skyline shimmered behind him as he sat in his throne-like leather chair. "Close the door," Martin ordered. James complied. "Look," Martin began, leaning forward. "You embarrassed me this morning, in front of everyone, and I don't tolerate that." "I'm sorry you feel that way," James said calmly. "Sorry?" Martin chuckled. "You're not sorry enough. Pack your things. You're done here." James stared for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I've given this company 15 years of my life, sir. Are you sure you want to do this?" Martin smirked. "You think I need you? You're nothing without this job. Get out." Within minutes, security escorted James out like a criminal. Employees whispered as he walked past, head held high. Martin watched from his office window, a cruel smile playing on his lips. What Martin didn't know was this: James Carter was far more than just a janitor. And this wasn't the end. It was the beginning. 3 weeks later, Martin received a letter at his mansion. A legal summons. James Carter was suing him for wrongful termination and racial discrimination. Martin laughed so hard he nearly spilled his whiskey. "A janitor suing me? Good luck paying your lawyer with pocket change." But his laughter faded the day he stepped into the courtroom. Because James wasn't alone. He walked in wearing a crisp navy suit, head high, flanked by one of the most powerful civil rights attorneys in America, Anthony Wallace, a man even Martin had once tried and failed to hire. Martin's smirk faltered. "What the hell is this?" he muttered to his attorney. And that wasn't all. Sitting behind James was a row of supporters, community leaders, veterans, even reporters. Something was happening, and Martin was in the middle of a storm he never saw coming. The judge entered, a stern woman with eyes like steel. "This court is now in session." James took the stand first. Calm, poised. His voice carried the weight of truth. "I worked for Graves Enterprises for 15 years. I never asked for a promotion, never caused trouble. I did my job. But that day, he humiliated me in front of everyone, called me worthless, fired me without cause." Martin's lawyer pounced. "Objection, Your Honor. Emotional exaggeration." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Overruled. Continue, Mr. Carter." Then came the first bombshell. James reached into his folder and pulled out a USB drive. "These are recordings," he said. "Months of conversations where Mr. Graves used racial slurs, belittled me, and even threatened termination. Gasps filled the courtroom as the judge allowed the audio to be played. Martin's own voice filled the room. "People like you will never be more than janitors. You're beneath me." Reporters scribbled furiously. Martin's face turned pale. His lawyers stammered objections, but the damage was done. And then came the second bombshell. Anthony Wallace stood and said, "Your Honor, what my client has endured is bad enough. But what makes this case shocking is who Mr. Carter really is." The courtroom buzzed as James removed his jacket, revealing a row of military ribbons pinned inside. James Carter, Anthony said proudly, is a decorated Army veteran. 3 tours overseas. Bronze Star recipient. He bled for this country while Mr. Graves sat in penthouses. The jury's faces shifted. The tide had turned. Martin looked like a cornered animal. But James wasn't finished. "I didn't fight for freedom just to come home and be told I'm nothing," he said, voice trembling with emotion. The entire room erupted in applause before the judge slammed her gavel. Order. Over the next week, Martin tried everything, bribing witnesses, intimidating employees, but every move backfired. Former staff came forward with their own stories. Old emails surfaced showing his discriminatory remarks. His empire was crumbling, and the world was watching. After 3 grueling weeks, the jury returned with a decision: guilty. Martin was ordered to pay $10 million in damages and issue a public apology. But the money wasn't the real punishment. As the judge said, "You measured a man's worth by his job title. Today, you've learned who truly stands tall." Reporters swarmed James as he left the courtroom. His words would go viral across the nation. Dignity is worth more than any paycheck. Martin? He lost everything. His reputation, his company, and the illusion that his money made him untouchable. If this story of justice moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life courtroom dramas. And tell us in the comments, do you think $10 million was enough? Or should Martin have gone to jail?